Hey everyone, welcome back. So I'm guessing if you're here, you're probably the kind of person who, loves to learn new things and explore different perspectives. And maybe, just maybe, you're wrestling with a tough decision right now, something that's got you feeling a bit stuck. Well, perfect timing because today we're taking a deep dive into a technique that can help you make those choices, big or small, with a whole lot more confidence.
Sounds intriguing.
It is, and it's all thanks to the work of the Japanese self-improvement expert named Teru Nakashima. He's got this really cool approach, surprisingly simple, but super powerful. It's all about finding what he calls your reference person, someone you admire, and using their wisdom to kind of guide your decisions. Makes you think, right? Like, who would your go-to person be in a tough spot?
I like where this is going. It's like having a personal board of advisors, but just in your head.
Exactly. And Nakashima starts by pointing out this really basic thing. Life is pretty much just one choice after another. But here's the catch. When our self-esteem's kind of shaky, those choices, they can feel way bigger than they need to be.
We've all been there. You start second-guessing yourself, overthinking every little thing.
Oh, totally. So like you said, analysis paralysis sets in.
Yep. And in psychology, we talk about this idea of self-efficacy, which is basically how much we believe in our ability to, actually succeed at something. So low self-efficacy, that's a recipe for getting stuck. We become so afraid of messing up, of picking the wrong thing, that we end up doing nothing at all.
Ugh, it's the worst. And I am so guilty of this. Like, just the other week, I spent ages trying to decide which online course to take. I'm talking reading every single review, comparing all the lesson plans. I'm a little embarrassed to admit this, I kind of stalked the instructors online.
We've all been there.
Right. But by the time I finally picked one, the course was practically over. Such a waste. So how do we break free from this overthinking trap? Well, that's where Nakashima's reference person technique swoops in to save the day.
Okay, tell me more.
So the basic idea is this. When you're facing a tricky decision, instead of getting lost in your own head, you imagine what someone you really respect, someone you admire, would do in the exact same situation.
I see. So it's not about copying their life exactly, but more about getting a new point of view.
Right. It's like borrowing their wisdom and their experience to kind of, shed light on things you might have missed. It's like having a wise mentor, giving you a pep talk, but the mentor is all in your imagination.
That's a great way to put it, and Nakashima lays out some really practical steps to make this work. So first things first, you got to identify your reference person. Who is it? Someone who really inspires you, especially in the area where you're struggling to make a decision.
Right. So like if you're trying to decide whether to take a new job, your reference person might be someone who's super successful in your field.
Exactly. And then once you've got your person in mind, Nakashima suggests doing a little journaling. It's all about asking yourself some key questions.
Like, if my reference person were in my shoes, how would they be thinking about this problem?
Yeah. And then you take it a step further. You ask, what actions would they take? Think about their values, how they handle challenges, their old decision-making style.
And to top it off, what advice would they give me?
Right. And remember, the goal isn't to get some magical specific answer. It's more about shifting your perspective, tapping into their confidence and courage to kind of inform your own choices.
I love how practical this is. Now, here's a fun fact. You want to know who Nakashima's own reference person is?
Who is it?
Ralph Waldo Emerson, the American philosopher.
Wow, I wouldn't have guessed that.
I know, right? And he even quotes Emerson saying, groundless confidence is the only genuine confidence. It's like Emerson's giving us permission to just go for it, even if we don't have all the answers figured out.
That's brilliant. It reminds me of something we often say in psychology. Sometimes overthinking is the biggest obstacle to action. And remember, self-efficacy, it often grows from experience, from actually doing things. So even if we mess up, even if we make mistakes, the very act of taking action can boost our confidence and help us learn along the way.
Makes total sense. So to everyone listening, I got to ask, who pops into your mind when you think of a guiding figure, someone who really inspires you? Think about their strengths, their values, how they approach challenges. If they were in your shoes right now, how would they handle the situation you're facing?
And don't feel limited. It doesn't have to be someone famous or even someone you know personally. It could be a character from a book, a historical figure, even a combination of a bunch of people you admire. The important thing is to choose someone who embodies the qualities you're striving for, someone whose wisdom resonates with you.
Because when you use this reference person technique, it's like you're borrowing their wisdom and their confidence to help you break free from those negative thought patterns and gain a fresh perspective. It's like having a secret weapon in your decision-making toolbox.
Exactly.
So to wrap things up, the big takeaway here is that we all have these incredible people in our lives, people we admire, people who inspire us. And by tapping into their energy, by kind of channeling their wisdom, we can unlock our own potential and make choices that feel true to ourselves.
Well said.
But here's a little something to ponder. Nakashima mainly talks about using this technique for, specific decisions. But what if we went bigger? What if we applied this to our life goals, our careers, our relationships? Could leaning on the wisdom of our reference person help us make those huge life choices with more clarity and more courage? Just something to think about.
Definitely food for thought.
Well, that brings us to the end of our deep dive today. Thanks for hanging out with us. Remember, you've got the power inside you to make brave, confident choices. Now go out there and channel your inner Emerson.
Or whoever your reference person might be.
Exactly. Until next time, ATSC.